Boom. Recording is in progress. Progressively recording. I got it. They need to let me know, and I know now. Matt, it's a Friday. Relax, just cold on Friday. HFR used to be on the floor. Mistrade, Matt Davio. Market Vitals is the stream, and
I saw
today
who's Jack, the guy that used to be on CNBC.
Jack Barugian.
Yeah,
the great. I gotta tell you, one of the great guys. Again, Matt, the trading floor full of Chicago personalities, mostly driven by their ethnicity, and we were past the whole thing on ethnicity where you couldn't bust somebody's balls furiously. Right about their ethnicity. It's like that's what you do. In fact, you did it so well. If you got under somebody's skin, if like you're like, wow, that actually got you. I got you with the Polak joke or the Italian eye ties or Jack, I believe Armenian, yeah. Very proud people. When you get them pissed, they're pissed.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, speaking of getting pissed, I got the original 6.
Yeah, that bottom right one should be on the top middle. I don't know what's going on.
The Red Wings, they're so bad the glue didn't even work on.
They're not bad actually this year. They will be a playoff team, I think.
Anyway, we got I love this share because what it does for me, Matt, it encapsulates perfectly how fucking soft we are as a society. And it started right here with helmets mandatory on NHL players. Now, they all wear them anyway now. I mean, there was a time. Who was the last guy? With the flowing hair. Come on. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Had to be. I mean, it was still the early 80s. Matter of fact, I was watching a documentary on Red Berenson. I don't know if you know Red, but he longtime NHL coach, player for the St. Louis Blues, and then 30 years at Michigan as their head coach. It's a great documentary on him on the Big Ten Network. And he was one of the first guys during these times, right? 50s and 60s. And he wore a helmet actually when he was, playing at Michigan. He started wearing one, and all the guys made fun of him, but he was really the guy that crested the wave of all the players starting to wear them when they saw that he wasn't getting concussed every game like they were.
Well, there's no doubt that he was intelligent to wear a helmet in hockey.
Right.
But it was a different time when people weren't worried about so much. I mean,
I'll tell you, my hockey mouth guard is so tight, Bob, that I feel like the safest guy in the world playing in my, 2-beer league, because it is my helmet's a little ratchety still, like the strap's falling off, but at least I got the mouth guard. I have to pull it out of my tooth. It's so stuck in there.
His tooth. What are you from, Bridgeport? My tooth. Craig McTavish, thank you, Lee. Flowing hair, am I right? I mean, he had the flowing hair, gorgeous. Man, I know you are a big fan of a TikToker or something of the flowing hairs in Minnesota, the high school players, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's still a thing.
Oh, yeah, it's still a thing. If you've never watched, I recommend everybody just search on YouTube the all high school Minnesota hockey hair team. They've been doing it for 20 years.
Hockey hair team?
Yeah, it's the best.
Oh, I love it.
It's the best.
All right, man, listen.
He talks about salad, whether it's tossed, whether it's loose.
High and tight.
Mullets.
Business up top, party behind.
Oh, the hairdos. And the kids just outdo themselves.
Matt, we have been called fascists on the climate, and neither one of us are not environmentalists, right?
Right. Nobody wants pollution. Right.
Absolutely. Like guarantee me clean air and water and somebody again, back to yesterday, if you park in the handicap spot, you get a 9mm to the knee, right? If you throw garbage out of your car, you have to eat it. All right. They take you and you don't leave the cell till you eat the garbage.
Yeah.
That's what I'm for.
That's your bail. You got to eat whatever you
throw. Your bail is sit down, eat the garbage, fucker.
Including the metal bean can.
Anyway, I love this one. The tallest tree in Wales had been damaged by a storm and it was supposed to be cut down until the chainsaw artist Simon O'Rourke found a better solution, simulating the tree's last attempt to reach for the sky. Reach for the sky. I love it, Matt. Just a gorgeous thing. But let's talk about environmentalism and the hypocrisy of the world on full display. First of all, the Russians veto UN resolution to recognize climate change as a threat to global security, although it is killing a lot of people. And right now, currently, I believe 13 ships are frozen in the Great White North, in the Arctic. And they said, we'll see you in May. We're not going to get to you. Have a nice winter.
Yeah, again, ice shale is growing, yet climate change is all they want to
Well, wait a second. It gets better, Matt, because the EU, in their wisdom, has exempted both yachts and private jets from the green new taxes. You know what? Again, what a slap in the face by the elites. Like, listen, climate fucks, sit down, shut up, eat the fucking bugs. And we're gonna sail.
Well, you saw the pictures over the holidays of Bezos and his crew out on his super yacht, right? I mean,
yeah, I love the concern.
When you're worth 500 billion, you can do whatever.
And then we got Shy Girl, by far the best follow on Twitter if you want to know what's going on in the energy sector.
Amen.
By far,
Amen.
Oil demand expected to grow 4 to 5% over the next fiscal year. We had talked about before, and I believe she shared how oil exploration in the U.S. is at a 50-year low. Like everybody knows that they're not going to get permitted, so why even look? And then this one, commercial oil stock inventories in days to cover, right there dragging at the bottom of the lowest of the past 12 years. So not a lot of slippage here. Demand increasing, stocks on their lows, and nobody looking for oil. Matt, bring up the oil chart. Let's talk about it. Sure. The economy looks like it's going to slow. Retail sales off. Still got inflation.
We'll get to that.
A lot of moving parts here.
Yeah, I mean, oil new high on the move today. Actually, tickled like 83. What was it? Quarter 40. So yeah, 45. And but it still feels toppy to me. But as I said to you earlier, it's hard to take an oil short into a long weekend, into a holiday weekend. It is MLK weekend. For those of you unaware, we will not have a I'm not going to say it.
Trading Sunday night, not going to happen.
Yeah, we will not be trading really until Monday night. So it is
guaranteed, probably, by the way.
But remember, 85 was the old high. So we still may have some work to do up here to test that 85 level that we saw there in October. I'm not sure. It feels to me, it just feels really heavy. Just the chart feels heavy. It's been going up, but very the last couple, weeks. And I actually traded a good bit the last couple days from the dark side and was making, 50 to 80 cents. I did that about 4 or 5 times. Today, I'm not involved. Thankfully, I would have been probably sitting in a losing position right now. But again, just because it's Friday and where we are, I would kind of pause until next week before you come back.
Especially since the crack shot journalists at CNN have uncovered a false flag plot in eastern Ukraine. If missiles start flying, I mean, you don't want to be short crude.
Right. Yeah. So crude it still looks bullish. I mean, this is the week-long chart. It had a nice move this week and is closing out above balance, which is at this point still 82.50. So it's looking very bullish on the 1 week. Again, it's hard to fade, but again, it feels heavy. There's something in my gut and then in these charts that says it's going to trade back here to 78. But that might be next week or two if nothing continues to happen over this Ukraine thing. And it's interesting. This whole Ukraine thing, I think, was a false flag, the story itself, because from what I saw on some of the Telegram, intel channels from the Slavic region, they were saying that this uprising was more about the people revolting against the police and the government because they disallowed them to take their money out of the bank unless they had a vaccine pass. That's what it was about. That's not what's been covered.
For sure. I don't know the other thing I saw was how was
and because of that, they couldn't get gas too. Like there was gas problem,
Right, exactly. There was a major energy, never good to have an energy shortage in the winter. Like nobody wants to.
Well, and I also saw that Euro land right now is already at the 50% like drawdown on their gasoline reserves, and they usually don't get here until February. So we're way ahead of normal, and I think something to watch still. That could also take these prices higher just because they're going to have to import everything that they need just to meet their needs that they have there. And
it's got to be some. There has to be some what the fuck when you're filling up your yacht. I mean, I never had a yacht. I had a nice boat, and it was staggering, right? Like it was like a deep gulp and swallow
right.
to fill that thing up. So
yeah,
the food on the moon, they're like, listen.
As the guy that, with the guys with the nice boats like you, I'd be, I'll pay for the gas. So I'm like, really? Did I want to do that?
Exactly. You come out for the weekend on the boat, like, I'll take care of the gas. All right, it's $580.
Right, exactly.
You're like, what? Wait a second. What did I just say? Yeah. Take the red velvet cake and get it off the boat. I always love that.
So, Bob, we had big numbers today. This week we had CPI Wednesday, PPI yesterday. So 7% CPI, 10.7% PPI. And then we've been talking about retail as the short of 2022. And I just want to bring up the fact that
Matt, bring it up, but also give it a little background about what we talked about the year end. The things that are getting schmeezed at the year end are not going to not continue getting schmeezed, and the things that are healthy, we
were running all in the end of the year. Here I'm going to just bring up a number of names that we've been following. First one is Home Depot, and again, saw this high here in early December. It sold off and then went back and tested it for the first of the year, which is exactly what you would expect. Now the numbers have come out today, and there's a reason why we're down $13. They were bad. Retail had their worst numbers in a number of years. Why? I mean, what would you expect? Again, CPI, PPI, it was like laid up for you. So, but again, this is exactly how you want to position a portfolio like this. Like you said, we were running all of late 21 in all retail, and I'll bring up a number of names. Lowe's obviously will be one of them. And they're all going to be down today because of the bad retail numbers. So pick your poison, which one you picked. But Home Depot is down considerably. Lowe's is now down, $20, 10% from its highs. Target is sitting here now further down. It got as high as 270 there in December, and again has been rolling over. This didn't even have the bounce. And again, this is kind of, you had to be short these. I felt at the end of the year, even if you were, upside down a little bit, you had to be short because these look at the holes in this profile. This is just not a pretty profile, Bob. Walmart. And then I'm going to bring up Chipotle because we talk about that one all the time. You know what? Walmart tends to stay kind of like away from a lot of the because of the products they sell and the customer that they serve. So this one doesn't look as bad as the others to me. Let me bring up CMG, and that one took another whack on the chin today. That one's down another $30, 2%.
When I look at that, Matt, I mean, the profile is broken in a bunch of places.
Yep.
And you're just into it. I mean, so there, again, on profile trading, there is nothing. It's not unreasonable to cover all of those prices again. There's nothing unreasonable about that.
Yeah, we could trade easily down to 1060, which is half off from the 1947 level that we saw. And again, that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, you still have a $42 billion market cap for CMG. People aren't going to be going out as much as they were in the last few years because their checks aren't, first of all, they're not working. Second of all, the checks they have aren't going as far because they have to fill up their tank and buy groceries and pay for daycare, and get your dog groomed. And that's doubled in the last year.
Dude, I think we need to open up a restaurant dog grooming place,
in this town for sure. It's crazy. Yeah. So the retail is really taking it on the chin today. The numbers were poor, the worst we've had in years. And all this is lining up. I don't know what you think, but to me, yesterday was the total capitulation of this administration. Like, it was the saddest day. Like, watching some of the videos of Grandpa in his basement, it was painful to watch. It was painful.
And I've hated the guy the whole time. Nothing's changed from me.
Right. But he's still doubling down. He's still quadrupling down. But you private companies, even though the SCOTUS said don't do it, do it. I mean, what's that? Talk about
it. Like, I don't know
how about losing gracefully? You lost.
Well, wait a second. Well, yeah, to that point,
Yeah, he's never has.
How do you build a vision of the future around jabs when the EU is like, this is not the vision of the future because of the immunocomplications of repeated jabs?
Right.
I mean, they're already going, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah, even the people that were the biggest proponents of it are saying, pause, time out, we need to look at this. And they're trying to CYA themselves right now because it's obvious they've been, there's got to be some people getting a little nervous in their shorts right now. There has to be, a reason. So, also speaking of retail and dog food, let's take a look at Chewy. Wanted to bring that one up because that one,
I love Chewy.
But again, 120 to 40, this is 80, 70% off here. I mean, I'm just saying this is where we are. And it's still an $18.5 billion market cap selling online dog treats and dog food. This thing's going to go back to $30. Just, when, not if.
All right, Matt. I just want to point out one thing.
Oh, and then Myrna, speaking of,
yeah. Let's speak jab. With the EU saying there's some real problems with in fact, I pretty much think the EU has said, if you think that there's going to be annual boosters, I mean, before it was like every 4 months.
Right.
And then they're like, well, so 5th, 6th, 7th, Trudeau's got jabs ready to go through 2026.
Yeah.
But there's some real problems here. And so how does this company stay in business if there is no path forward?
I mean, I've been saying it on these last 2 bounces. I see this as the next Enron. There's nothing but lawsuits coming and nothing but, turmoil coming for this company. Even though they think they're protected, there are smart lawyers out there, and they will be able to sue their asses to oblivion and demolish them. That's kind of what I see happening. I mean, who's going to take like you said, who in their right mind with what now would take another dose of this shit?
Especially a 4th or a 5th.
So, I mean, we've been talking about this, it's going to, I think you're going to trade. We're just getting, like you talked about the profile again. Well, we broke down on this, and this is
by the way, Matt, let's just point this out here. Once you enter into the meat of a profile, into the value range, there's nothing out of the ordinary to cover the value range, to cover all those prices again. I don't know how many times I have to say this. It's like, if you bought milk at $2 a gallon and you bought milk at $6 a gallon, why would you ever think that it could never trade $2 a gallon?
Right.
I mean, everybody is a professional profile trader in something. They know what the value is. They know when something is overvalued. They know when something is undervalued. Well, my mom with 11 kids in the house, it was a loaf of bread. I mean, she was a value trader around bread. And believe me, we had a freezer, and we'd go pick up 20, 30 loaves of wholesome bread when it was, a quarter a loaf or whatever the fuck it was back then. Anyway, everybody, and so it's like, well,
back then when inflation was when inflation was running rampant too.
Exactly. Let's go. Anyway, what I wanted to
I was trying to explain that to my son when I was 14, 15 in 1980, right? I was earning from my paper route, I was earning 15% in my passbook. 15%. Every dollar I put in there was earning 15% a year. Who needed to invest? As a matter of fact, my dad just put me into a Franklin Templeton Treasury Fund, and my money doubled like in 3 years. It was crazy.
Right on.
Super good lesson for the for the compounding interest. And so he was asking me, because he's in the real estate business. He's like, so could we go back there? I'm like, we probably should be there already now. But
yet. You notice how the Fed is like,
oh my God.
Lee says he had a car loan at 39%. Please tell me it was a fucking Chevy Chevette.
It was a Pinto also.
So they Chevetted it right in your can.
It was probably a DeLorean.
Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious.
Goodness
gracious.
Yes.
And now I lost my train of thought.
We're talking about, interest rates. Mortgages. Mortgage in 2000, when I bought my house here, was 7.5%, 8%. Now we're at what, 2 or 3? And then
there's absolutely, to think that things can't go back to where they already traded. And here's the thing, where they already traded amongst reasonable people that thought the value they were getting to buy it and to sell it was fair.
Right.
It was a fair price. Why can't that happen again? It's insane that people, a Toyota Tercel. Oh, he went Asian early on us. That's all right. We'll forgive you for that.
We probably don't.
What I wanted to point out, this is where I wanted to go with it. We talked about Monday as a holiday, and let's just talk about the equities as we head towards the end of the day here, last couple hours of trading. And I've been saying this setup looks different than the beginning of the week, right?
Yeah.
On the daily, and I'm going to bring it up and show you. But the other thing I want to say is, like, I think if they can't kick save the close today, like if they schmeeze these things and close on the lows, like you don't have a Black Monday-esque, and I'm not calling for a Black Monday, but I'm saying you don't get a real loose market on Monday with a strong market on Friday in general. In general, it's a couple days that set up the whoosh. Like the whoosh usually doesn't come from the top.
Yeah, today to me, Bob, just feels like a normal Friday trading day, kind of working off some oversold. Remember, we fell 700 points on the NASDAQ from 16,000 down to 310 last night. Now we're just working off some oversold, it feels like to me, in all the indices. So yeah, I would love to see him chase it a little bit more. Then I'd be more apt to get short for the weekend, but it doesn't look like they're going to have enough power to get it going here. So
all right, let me just show, give me the opportunity to share, Matt, and I will for sure share. Absolutely. Toyota Tercel, piece of shit.
There we go.
Thank you. Lee, let us know how you really feel in the chat. I love it. All
yeah,
right,
but
now,
also back, also back then, here, what was interesting is that, like, my dad was a big three guy. He worked for General Motors and he worked around the industry forever, right? And the thing about it in the 80s, like when I wanted to buy my my own car, my first car, I was like, listen, I want to buy, and my dad's like, well, we can get it. I'm like, I can buy a Nissan Maxima for less than I can, a Buick Century, and it's a better car. So because of the interest rates, right? You had cheap loans, you had much cheaper money to buy the Asian cars, and that was a huge advantage for them and why they did so well. That inflation that we were seeing here was what really destroyed, coming full circle here, that is what destroyed the car industry in the U.S.
Along with the fact that they were making incredibly shitty cars.
They were making horrible cars in the 70s and 80s. Absolutely. Absolutely horrible.
Yep. All right, man, let me jump to a standard deviation nuance and the difference between Monday, and this is the big wash off on Monday. But you see the bands still had positive slope to them. All right. I've said it all week. I'm a slave to the slope. Right. And now on Friday, the slope has changed. The dynamic in this market has changed from a standard deviation modeling on the daily. It's falling away now. And if we close on our ass, I would not want to be holding longs over the weekend with this setup. And if we run through them, the Russell looking equally as brutal. The NASDAQ, it's actually up on the day, right? But again, that's why I think this close is so important, how we finish the day. And the Dow Jones, again, it's fully rolled over too, falling away potentials on the standard deviation modeling on the daily. Believe me, you have to pay attention to that. It's important. It's nuanced, but it's not just the number. The slope of the line is incredibly important.
Yeah, and what's interesting, Bob, is it ran up right to the middle line there on your, I was looking at the SPOOs specifically. It ran right to that middle line where it should have paused, and it did right there.
Yeah, there were a lot of pings of either
47.40. Yeah.
Averages or momentum lines, kisses, we call that, a perfect kiss. Yep. All right, man, we got NFL on Sunday, and we have one of our perfect setups that we talked about all year, and let's just go over it.
Yeah, well, we talked about, I had the Bengals and the Patriots yesterday for tomorrow's games. And Sunday, we got three games. We got Eagles, Buccaneers, -9 for the Bucs. I think you got to take Tom Brady just smoking them in Tampa Bay. Eagles are horrible. And then, again, if you're going to make me choose a team, Cowboys, Niners, that's a tough one. I mean,
I agree. I think that's a toss-up game.
3.5 points. I think you got to take the 49ers, getting the 3.5 at Dallas. just seems to make sense to me. The Cowboys still don't seem to have that perfect.
You know what the way I love on this bet though too is, let's say the Cowboys win the flip, right? Yep. And they march the field and scored a touchdown. That line goes to 9.
Right. I'll take that all day.
You know, it's just a great setup.
But this is why you think about this pregame, and then you wait for that first score, and then you place the bet, because then you're like, all right, I really like San Francisco, like you said, +8, +9, +10. Absolutely. That becomes more attractive to me. And then here's the game of the day, the game of the weekend that we both like. And I talked about it already. I like the Steelers money line and the Chiefs giving the 12 points, 12.5. So you bet 10 on each, right? And you could lose both ways if you are somewhere in between 12 and 0 and the Chiefs win, right? Chiefs win by less than 12, you lose both ways. So be aware, there's your risk. But there's something in me that says Big Ben has one more in him, and Mahomes, this is not his year anyways. He's not going to go all the way. So maybe he just bows out in that first game and he goes home to that new bride and the new baby. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and a giant bank account. And
a giant bank account and more State Farm commercials lined up for the offseason. And Big Ben gets to go on to one more game and then he loses. But I could see him playing, maybe, I don't know if he'd play Josh Allen in the next game, but that would be a good matchup again. Kind of the new big guy, the old big guy matching up. That would be a good setup. And then you got the Cardinals-Rams Monday night again. The Cardinals have just kind of pissed the bed. I think you got to take the Rams there at LA, given 4.5. That's kind of how I see it, but I don't know. What do you think?
I kind of like the Rams also. I think their D is coming around, and the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think that.
And by the way, I'm the worst pro football bettor on the planet.
No, so that would be me. That would be me.
That would be my brother Brian, the official mush.
No,
back in the day when you had to call a bookie, Matt. Remember bookies?
Oh yeah,
and they're still out there for sure. Yeah, they're still bookies.
Well, didn't my sons talk about somebody?
Yeah. There's bookies on campus.
Yeah,
it's still the rage.
And I was like, who uses a real bookie? They're like 17-year-old. I'm like, oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh, anyway, a story for another day. Matt, listen, that's it. Happy Martin Luther King weekend. One of my, honestly, God, one of my great admiring heroes. And I think he'd be canceled today.
Yeah.
Incredibly.
I mean, Dave Chappelle's basically been canceled. And so you're right. You're probably right.
Anyway, I'm a big Martin Luther King fan. I couldn't agree and align more with content of character over anything. Mm-hmm. So be better, man. Not build back better. Fuck that. How about you just be better? Right? How about we have a resurgence of civic responsibility? How about that?
Right.
How do you have a civil liberty if you have no civic responsibility?
Amen.
I don't know. You're going to get me going here on Martin Luther King. Listen, incredibly important how these equities, and by the way, I don't give a shit how they close. I'm going home short. All right. That first of all,
the Spoos are down 25 with 2 and what do we got? 2.5 hours, 3 hours left. The NASDAQ is up 9 with 3 hours to go in the day, 3+. So it'll be interesting. I think we could still test Monday's lows.
I do too. And I actually hope that we don't test that in the next hour. I would rather they go tickle that on the close.
Well, if they did on the next hour, or if they waited until late in the day, then it might be short. But
that's what I'm saying. I would. Yeah. I'm going home short either way. I don't give a shit. Right. I don't like. I'm a slave to the slope, and you ain't going to affect the slope. I mean, they'd have to rally the Spoos to 47.40 or something.
Right.
To affect the slope.
But again,
anyway, that's what I'm seeing, Matt.
Yeah, and again, I think we're going to see 14.9 on the NASDAQ, and it's sitting here at 15.5. So there's the next, 600 points. If you'd like it, go home short. I think it's going to be there. I think you'll see that 14.9 probably next week. If not, 14.5.
Guaranteed, probably. This is not trading advice. This is just
I'm just looking at the longer
playing.
I'm just looking at the longer term charts. These are the levels. This is, we've kind of, we've had these, it's a very heavy profile that we've been in for a long time now. Really, we've been in this range from 14, 14,375 up to 16,8, which is 2,500 points. We've been in that range since October 1st. We're sitting right in the middle of it. That number is 15,567, which we traded today already. So we're literally at the moment. Let me just show this, because this is
show, because
it's a good thing to talk about. Like we've already burst through the 50% line earlier this week. That we rolled through it on Monday, and then we rallied back just above the 38.2. Now we're sitting right on this, and below it, that's 563 is the 50, and it's also the point of control for this last 4 months. So everything to me says, just like you're saying, this longer term chart is now in control of price. For you day traders that don't understand this, we're on the right side of the slope here, is what this is telling me. And rallies are meant to, especially, you saw it this week, we had an 850 point rally in the NASDAQ. They are meant to be sold. All you did is come back into the meat up in here, and I would have been happy to sell all the way up to 16.3. That would have been another gift. You're just not going to go up 1,200 points without a pullback. It's unlikely. That's a huge move. And we had a huge move last week into the CPI PPI. So it felt rigged. It felt manipulated before the numbers came out, because they wanted to sell them from a higher number versus the lower number. I mean, that's just what they do.
It's what they do.
It's what they do.
It's what they do.
Yep.
All right, Matt, you have a great weekend. Matt, I just want to show Frank here. Frank, the enforcer at Manja TV.
The enforcer. Where is he?
Here's Frank.
There he is. Is he coming to bring my rub?
Rub is on the way, Matt.
Okay. Rub is on the way.
Hey, Frank.
God, I need some rub for my shrimp. Get that shit over here, Bob.
By the way, Frank, always. Wait a second. Frank always throws paw. Matt, he's so easy to beat in rock, paper, paw. One way only, that dog. Paw every time.
Rock,
I brought, I'm going to bring that up next week. I ain't even get into it now. Anyway, Manja TV, Shrimp Mojo Rub, one of our sponsors, our only sponsor. Please visit Amazon.com, search Shrimp Mojo, right? And buy some rub, become a dealer, cook somebody a meal. And you know what? That's what we do.
That's what we do.
Hey, Lee, how good's the rub, by the way? Here it comes. Currently trying to test the lows in the SPOOs as we go. Again, I don't like it this early. I would rather this be like a 2 to 3 central washout.
It's kind of a sign. It's kind of a sine curve day. Buy, sell, 100 point, 150 point moves, 150. I'm just talking the NASDAQ. This is my favorite kind of trading day. I love it.
Right on. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right, you're fired. Anyway, happy Martin Luther King weekend.
That was your problem. It's for meat. It's for meat, Lee. Not
for
veggies.
Shrimp.
Not
there
veggies.
You go. 10 out of 10.
Not for veggie.
10 out of 10. Happy Martin Luther King weekend. Let's just be better out there. How about it? How about it, Matt?
Lee's a soy boy.
Try.
Lee's a soy boy. Oh God.
Hey, listen, it's fantastic. Let me listen to me now. Listen to me. Do you eat tempeh? You ever eat tempeh? Take the rub, cut it 50-50 with brown sugar, and pan fry tempeh for tempeh tacos. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm not kidding you. I mean, that's what like Chipotle or anything. Forget the fucking fake meat. Like they should be doing tempeh burgers with the manja rub cut 50-50 brown sugar. They'd sell a gazillion of them.
A gazillion.
Hey, bingo. He's going to try it this weekend. Tempeh tacos, rub, brown sugar, 50-50, little oil, roll them around, hit them in a cast iron skillet, right? So the brown sugar has a chance to caramelize with the heat that Shrimp Mojo's giving you. It's unreal. All right, man, you have a great weekend.
Speaking of cast iron, did you see that quote out of Thibodeau, the number one defensive lineman pick out of Oregon? He was talking about the education they get at Alabama. I was like, wow, that's interesting.
No, what did he say?
I just said, there's a reason why I didn't go to Alabama. Because you're not going to get an education. You're there for football.
Education. All right, Guy, you have a great weekend.
So little shout out for U of O. I guess they have a real legit program for the players.
Right on, pal. Have a good one.
Peace.